Rivalry Show. Sophie Cleon, and you're watching Let Freedom Ring. Let Freedom Ring.
And welcome to Let Freedom Ring. I hope everybody out there has been enjoying the 70-degree weather out that we had today in March. But my guest this week from St. Christopher's Recovery and Heartfelt Recovery, Drew Wade. Drew, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, super excited to have you on. Very popular episode. Fan questions have just been flying in on Facebook, so it's there's a lot to get into. So, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
So I'm from the Seacoast area. Specifically, I grew up in Rye. That was my hometown. I was very blessed to grow up in like such a nice town. Plenty of opportunity. I went to like Rye Elementary, Rye Junior High. It's a small town, beach town. You know what I mean? So, once you get to high school, you kind of go to the city. So I went to high school in Portsmouth and just kind of stayed that way for quite some time in the Portsmouth Rye area, even like the tri-state. Like I, lived in Dover, Rochester area for a little bit, but mostly the Seacoast. Nice area.
No, that's awesome. Now, were you more into like, I love going to Rye Beach, less people. I love Northampton. Were you, is that like, my dad grew up in Revere, Mass, and he always talked about how they're at the beach every day in the summer. Is that kind of what your life was like?
Yeah. For a long time it was. I loved going to the beach. That's just what like we grew up doing. Definitely I, took it for granted a little bit because it was right there. We had it all the time. It's a place that people travel from like, other states to go see like Rye Beach. And it was like, I just grew up there. It was always there. So I took it for granted just a little bit. Once I moved away from it, I realized like how lucky I was to, grow up right on the water, literally. But yeah, a lot of our days in the summer as a kid were going mostly to like Rye Beach. Sometimes we go to Hampton when we wanted to hit the strip and go to different stores and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's cool because it was like when I was growing up, it was a treat to go to the beach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My mom is a very fair-skinned adult, so we would go once in a while to the beach. But I love it there. I've drawn up to the like Hampton, like even in the winter. I always thought we lived like so far away, and we really we
Mm.
really don't.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, it's wild. So I didn't realize like how lucky we had it to be like right on the water until so most of my family's actually from Tennessee. And I remember it was like the first time that my niece and nephew were coming to visit. My brother had been there, maybe once a year growing up. But then the first time my niece and nephew ever came, it was literally the first time they had ever seen the ocean.
Oh
And I
wow.
was, yeah. So, you know what I mean? They're right in the middle of Tennessee. So just never really, you know what I mean? So that's when I was like, man, I'm like, we're really blessed to just have this right here, like literally in our backyard.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's what I love about New Hampshire, I'm very biased. I've always lived in southern New Hampshire, but like if I want to go to the mountains, I have the option. If I want to go
Yeah.
to the beach, I want to go to the lakes, and if I want to go see the city,
Mm.
it's right there. Like I don't think it gets any better than that.
No, literally you have
You know?
everything.
So, but what are 3 things everybody should know about you?
Mm. Well, good question, Dan. 3 things everyone should know about me. Man, so I'm a dog dad. I got a puppy.
Yeah.
Man, I know you're a
Yeah,
dog dad too.
he's
I
right
love
here. Wyndham's right here. Yeah.
I don't have Nala in here, but I'm so happy to be a dog. It was like, getting her, me and my fiance Jenna, we got her at the perfect times, better than medicine. It's been such a blessing. Dog dad, fiance, and just a proud person in recovery.
Nice. Yeah, no, dogs are very life-changing.
Mm,
I saw someone post today and they're like, well, what do you have to do when you have to put down the family dog? I'm like, Wyndham is my family. Like,
yeah,
it's,
literally.
you know what I mean? Like it's, yeah, no, but, no, that's all good stuff. Now money question here. This is a
Hmm.
loaded question, means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. It's running with We used to say we're going to put this on a shirt. Sticking with the theme of the show, which is Let Freedom Ring. Drew Wade, what does it mean to you to be an American?
Yeah, you're right. Definitely a loaded question. So I mean, definitely, three things that come to mind is just freedom, opportunity, and diversity. And just having that freedom to build opportunity for yourself and for your family, and to just like live in a place with so much diversity, different cultures, different backgrounds, and just different people just trying to make a living. You know what I mean? And I think that you know I just appreciate that we have this freedom to live in this country, and some of the things that like you know that seem like such a big deal when you think about it really aren't. We're very blessed. We're very, very lucky to live, where we do.
Yeah, I like what you because I mentioned that a lot too. Is like the diversity. It's the diversity of people. It's also the diversity of thought because
Mhm.
people are allowed to say what they want. But I do, yeah, I think that's great because when I think of an American, I know we're in this weird divisive
Yeah.
way to be right now. But when I think of I don't. There's not one person I can say that's an American because there's just so many different like so many different people here,
Mhm.
so which I think is one of the I think is one of the most beautiful things about the United States. I think
Absolutely.
sometimes people get a little lost in that, you know.
Definitely. Yeah.
So no, but really good answer. That's a tough one. And I know, we had talked about it. Like, we don't really go into politics anymore here. We really haven't done that since 2020 because it's just like I love everybody having their, like I said, diversity of thought. I think is a good thing. Sometimes you're going to hear things you don't want to hear, but I think at the end of the day, like, people should have the right to say what they want. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
now gotta ask this. We know you're very involved in the recovery
Mhm.
community. How did you enter the world of recovery?
So it started out really young for me. I started experimenting at like a very young age, and it was like, like 13 or 14 with drinking and smoking. And a lot of my friends did as well. But with me, it seemed just a little different. It really consumed my life. Things became unmanageable really fast. Whereas, like, the people I was hanging out with, my friends, like they were just kind of experimenting. They'd smoke or drink on the weekend, but like very quickly, that's all I wanted to do. You know what I mean? I wanted to smoke before school. I wanted to bring, liquor in a bottle to school. Like it really just took over my life at a very young age. Consequences always caught up with me. I could do the same thing 10 other people are doing, and I'm just the one that always gets caught. You know what I mean? So at a young age, I was put on probation. I couldn't stay sober. I still couldn't pass, my UAs. So I ended up getting court ordered to a treatment center for adolescents at the age of 16. I was at the Phoenix House in Dublin for adolescents. It was
Okay.
like a 6 month program then. That was in like 2004, I think. So like while all my friends were at like the junior prom and like, going through that phase of their life in school, I was in Dublin, New Hampshire in a treatment center for adolescents. And that was my first time, experiencing AA meetings because we would go to AA meetings. The adults would come and talk to us, about addiction, the groups, being told I was an addict. It just all started very young for me. And that's, yeah, literally like when I was 16 was the first time I went to my AA meeting.
Now that's going to be that. I think about how because I started drinking when I was 15, right? I never really got in any trouble then or anything like that. I never really got in too much trouble. But as a 16-year-old, I gotta what's going through your mind when you're in it? Because I think a lot of like AA stuff I wasn't able to even hear until I was
Hmm.
much older. So what's that kind of like at 16, hearing these things?
I mean, it was tough. It was everything I didn't want to hear.
Yeah,
Being, being told that like I can like never drink or get high in safety, and that I'm an alcoholic, I'm an addict. All the truth, just things that I didn't want to hear. But what I will say is like, I always felt like, you know, the, I first felt like I could relate to another kid when I walked into those doors. And there
Mhm.
were other kids that were struggling with the same thing that I was because like I said, like my friends, like they didn't really let it consume themselves the way I let it consume me. And I never really understood why. You know what I
Sure.
mean? And then when I got to treatment and there were like-minded people that struggled with the same things, like the troubled ones that landed at such a place at such a young age, it was like the first time I really felt like I could relate to another kid.
Now, what? So now you do the treatment at 16. Where do you go? Where was it go from there? Does that lead to? I'm sure that's not easy for a 16-year-old.
Mm.
Um, so what's the next step?
I mean, that was really just like my first taste of treatment and kind of like what I was up against in life. You know, at that age, I was pretty hard headed. I didn't want to believe the things that they were telling me. I didn't want to believe that I couldn't drink. I didn't want to believe that I couldn't get high. Like, you know what I mean? I was going to test those waters. So, yeah, unfortunately, I got kicked out of the treatment center. You know, I didn't even really get to complete it. Um, you know, so it was just a back and forth cycle. For a long, long time after that. Just, you know, detox after treatment center. Like I had gone to just about every single treatment center. You know, sober living. It was so exhausting. It really was at the point, especially, you know, right before I came in this time, I just like felt so hopeless. Just thought I was just never going to get it. Like, you know, the program didn't work for me. I knew that, you know, towards the end, I realized I really have a problem. Right. But I was just so unwilling to surrender to the fact that I just like, you know what I mean? It was tough. It
Oh,
was a hard place to be in.
I definitely know what you mean. It's one of, I mean, alcoholism addiction, like people don't understand, like there's not rational thinking going on.
Yeah.
And that can be the toughest thing. So when do you eventually get sober for the last time?
Man, so it was almost 7 years ago. I'm
Oh,
creeping up on my
yeah,
7 years in
all
recovery.
right,
Yep. So,
nice.
you know, I was at you know, my last relapse. I had gotten a nice taste of recovery, right? And I was starting to come around to it. You know, things were going well. And but I went out again. And I was just like at that point, just so hopeless, man. And you know, I was just burning relationships and just everything down in my life. I was just giving everything away for the substance that was just killing me, you know. And for the longest time, man, I just like I didn't want to live, but I was like too afraid to die. You know what I mean? So it's just like this being in this weird place. Like I would like pray to God, like, please just like take me, spare me. Like, you know, I can't do it myself. Like, please just do it. And it almost happened. And so I got into a car accident that almost killed me. I woke up in the hospital. Over 24 hours later, I had no recollection of what happened. My clothes were cut off. They had to, I flatlined a few times. They had to bring me back to life. I had crashed into a telephone pole and
Oh,
gone unconscious, and I hit my head just right. Like I said, I woke up little over 24 hours later, and for the first time in about 16 years, I wanted to live. Having an experience that close to death was an awakening for me. And it was literally the first time that I can remember that I didn't want to die coming that close. And man, the thing that almost killed me really saved my life. I don't know, you know, how things would have turned out had I not had that experience. Very grateful for it. And I made the decision for the first time just about ever to ask for help and do it on my own accord. It wasn't to appease my probation officer. It wasn't to get up my mom off my back. Wasn't to save a relationship. It was strictly to live again. I just wanted to live.
no, that's an amazing story. I mean, that is, I do believe, I know that feeling of not, you don't want to live, but you don't want to die, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, very so. I had a friend pass away right before I went to treatment, like a month before,
So,
and
yeah.
like it finally felt real. Like, okay, I'm drinking myself to death. My
Mhm.
friend just died of a heart attack. I don't know if he had a drinking issue or anything like that, but I was like, losing him, I was like, do you want, like, I thought that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
You know, so no, I think I mean, we have those awakenings, and I think that's amazing. And honestly, um, from everything I know about you, doing fantastic, and it's a pleasure to know you. So
I
I'm
appreciate
glad you're still here. So
it.
for
Me
selfish
too.
reasons,
Yeah, me too.
uh, no, that's awesome though. Now, what has been the toughest part of recovery for you?
The toughest part, like, you mean like getting
Anything
into
in general.
recovery or?
Anything in general, like like for me personally, like I know that when I don't eat now, I get the real hanger that would drink away. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? But anything that's been like a tough part for you that you found.
So I'd say early on, it was kind of just like trusting the process and
Mm,
patience, right? I really wanted to rush into things, and I was so eager to like live, right? And to like rebuild my life. I just felt so far behind. A lot of my friends I grew up with, I'd see them on Facebook and they're like getting married, they're having kids, they're buying houses, they're, get promoted and all this stuff. And I'm like, I just went to a meeting and got like a 30-day chip. That's like my highlight right now. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I just felt like so far behind. And with that came a lot of emotions that I'd been bearing for a long time. So kind of managing emotions, learning how to deal with those in a healthy way and process them. Emotions is something that I've always had a hard time with. And I would
Mm,
numb, you know what I mean? So learning how to, develop those coping skills, and just trust the process, man. There were so many times like during this process of recovery where I realized like, there's someone, up there bigger than me with a plan, and to just trust it.
yeah, no, I love that. I think that's sometimes a hard thing for people in recovery if you're not into like the higher power type stuff.
Hmm.
But anybody can. I mean, I've always been Jesus is my guy. Always been.
Hmm.
So it was pretty easy for me. I mean, yeah, I totally agree with that. There is so many struggles that come with it after,
Mm,
but honestly, like I will always say, my worst day sober is better than my best day drinking, and
absolutely.
honestly, it's the truth. Like and anybody watching this, like, it's not fun forever. That's for goddamn sure. It
Yeah.
really, it is draining and exhausting, and addiction and alcoholism is a full-time job,
Hmm.
you
No,
know?
absolutely. No, I like that you said that. Literally, like my problems today are just Cadillac problems, man. Like literally things that I prayed for, problems I prayed for. You know what I mean? Like at least I have a car that needs fixing now. At least I have a license to drive it. You know what I mean? All these things that like we can get caught up in sometimes and like feel stressed out about, like, but they're all like beautiful. They can be beautiful problems to have. You know what I mean? Like I said, Cadillac problems compared to what we used to go through.
Yeah, and I mean, I look, it's like I'm above ground, like I'm not, like I'm still
Yeah.
here, and I see a lot of stuff, on social media that, of people like very in the negative and very like my life sucks and this and that. It's like it's all state of mind.
Yeah.
What your life
How we
is,
look
what
at
you
things. Yeah.
and I'm guilty of being in the negative, but I will say through the fellowship of AA, I've learned to not always stay there, and I can
Yes.
just like accept life on life's terms and like be happy with what I have. Because
Hmm.
like I never was. Oh, I don't have this job. I don't have this house. I'm not married. I don't this and that. So many things that like we build these things up in our head that don't matter. Like you're not
Literally.
taking any of this with you. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so no, it's a beautiful thing. But I gotta ask though, like, so how do you start working in recovery?
So I actually so I did I went to treatment. I went for like 30 days and I decided to try doing something different. And I was like, I'm not gonna put like a timeline on, how long I'm gonna do this. I should probably go to sober living, have a smoother transition. You know what I mean? So I went to sober living. Um, I didn't put a timestamp on how long I was gonna go. I was just kind of like letting go of the wheel. I wasn't gonna continue trying to control things because my ways just don't work. So I went to sober living. I stayed there for about 6 months. I showed up well. I worked really, really hard on myself and on my recovery. And I was asked to become a house manager. So I started off with house management. I managed a house in Manchester. And then the sober house that I went to in Derry was actually closing down before it was a men's sober living house, and they were opening up as a residential treatment center. And at the time I was working a Get Well job. I was working at the auto auction right on the Londonderry line, like detailing cars for very little money. But, you know, it was something, it was a job. It was something I showed up to every day regardless, you know, worked hard. And I saw that the place that I once went to was opening up as a center, and they were hiring, you know, techs. So I was like, I'm going to see if I could maybe get a job there. I'd love to, now that I'm in a place where I can take care of myself and I'm working on my recovery. So what I've always wanted to do is help other people once I was in a position to help myself. You know what I mean? And so I started off as, I got the job. I started off as an RSS, which is a recovery support worker. And, you know, I started off as that, and I worked my way up to case manager. From there, case management supervisor. I worked there for a year, and then, you know, went into, we started our own thing with St. Christopher's a few years later.
Yeah, and I had Mac on the couple weeks back, and I was saying how important like the techs really are when someone's in treatment. Like that to me was like the foundation of like the staff. I would say that they meant more than like the clinicians and stuff to me personally. I felt like I got a lot from them, which they're not really anything there than to make sure you're getting where you need to be. But no, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're there all day. I mean, the clinic, you know, the clinical side, that's a very important role. But you know what I mean? I'd see my clinician, you know, for an hour once a week. But those techs, man, they're there like, you know, all throughout the day, every day when you need something, like they're there no matter what. So definitely an important role for sure.
Yeah, it's huge. Now, how so St. Christopher's, tell me a little bit about this, because when we were promoting the show, I know I've played for some softball teams under that name with you. I didn't know that you were a part owner. Tell me a little bit more about it.
So St. Christopher, so I'll just start like with the story, like at the beginning, kind of how like the idea, you know, came to life. One of my best friends who I got sober with, we had talked about opening up our own. I mean, that's just something that we both individually wanted to do for a very long time, was like once we were able to get into a place in our life and our recovery, is to, you know, try to create our own thing that we wanted to do to help other men where we once were, like in the early stages of recovery. So we started talking about opening up our own sober house, and we had another friend who was one of our best friends as well. And we started talking to him about it. And then all three of us started meeting like once every few weeks at my friend's house. And we'd sit at his dinner table with like little notebooks, like trying to, like, you know, design this plan to open up our own sober house. And early on, we named it St. Christopher's. And we kind of had this like beautiful idea. We were all on the same page. And then, you know, we realized like there was a bit of a barrier. We needed money to buy a house. That's like the main thing of having a sober house, which can be a barrier. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we kind of like, once we realized that, you know, and, you know, it kind of got put on the back burner for a little bit. There was a few weeks that we just didn't meet. We weren't sure if it was really going to go anywhere. And then I got a call from our friend, and he's like, I think I have an investor, someone that wants to, you know, help us with our vision, and he wants to meet. So we met at we met him at the Rap City in Manchester, and we just pitched him this idea of St. Christopher's and how we were going to help, you know, bring quality sober homes to Manchester, and how we were going to help men in recovery, and what we were going to do for the community to give back. And I mean, right there, he called his realtor right there and said that we need a house. And literally within a month, we had our first sober home. And it just kind of, you know, went from there. We put a lot of time, money, and effort into building our brand. And we really wanted to, you know, because I had been to sober living before, so I was very familiar with the areas that are usually neglected. And so we wanted to set like a different standard. So we put a ton of money, time, effort into building like a very, very quality brand, holding on to our morals and values and standards, you know what I mean, which is very important to us. And we just, built this brand in these homes, and now we have 4 homes. You know what I mean? We're literally like cultivating leaders in the community, and that just show up so well in the community. And it's really like way beyond us. Obviously, it's not St. Christopher's. There's something way bigger. But all we're really doing is creating this home environment and a good environment for them to get well. That's not like no institutional feeling, like a home. You know what I mean? Like a community. That's literally what we're trying to build.
Yeah, no, I think that's amazing. And for people that may not be familiar, sober living, you've gone through treatment, correct? And then you can go into sober living after treatment, or is that kind of the way? I didn't go into sober living, but is that how it kind of the flow?
Yeah, I mean, so we get referrals. A lot of times people will call us from different levels of care, whether it's like they're residential, they're getting ready to graduate a 28-day program, and they're going to come, or sometimes they've already gone through residential and they're in, they finished their PHP, which is a lower level of care, and they're in IOP getting ready to discharge. And some, I've gotten calls from people that, had discharged a while ago when they were still sober, and they were just kind of missing the connection. And they wanted to get into a more structured environment. So, people come from, all different sort of places, but mainly, graduating programs and just trying to transition into a structured home.
No, I think that's awesome. I mean, there's quite a few, and there's a really good recovery sober community that we have in Southern New Hampshire. So I think a lot of people are looking, it's not easy after treatment, and I think having those sober living places to go is huge for a lot of people. So no, I think that's awesome. Now, what do you do at Heartfelt? Now, if you are, so that's a sober living. Heartfelt is more of a recovery, like I don't think they do do they do detox there?
So it's a PHP IOP. It's located in Hudson. So I work as the director of operations over there.
Okay.
So our clients come to the center in the morning. We do the programming throughout the day. And they go to a lot of, some of them have outside housing. Some of them come from their own homes, different sober houses, and things like that. But yeah, it's a PHP IOP. I work as the director of operations over there. And it's been amazing. It's such a blessing. I love working there. And what was attractive about them and wanting to be involved with them is exactly like what I try to promote doing with St. Christopher's, like giving back to the community, doing different things to give back, and that's what they do. That's what they're about. They put on so many events for the community, literally just giving back to the people. And man, I just want to get involved. So it's been a blessing. So I work as the director of operations over there.
Nice. Now, I feel like if there's a sober event, if you're looking for a sober event, there's one to find. Like between all of these different recovery centers, there's always something going on.
Always something going on.
So no, that's awesome. Now I gotta ask this because a lot of people know you through softball. That's how we met.
Yeah.
Did you grow up playing baseball when you were a kid, or how did you get into the crazy world of slow pitch softball?
So I didn't even really know it existed the way that it does. I first started out, it was like my first year in recovery, right? And NH Core, you played, right? NH Core tournaments. Yep. So NH Core would put on their annual softball tournament. And I was playing for Under One Roof. It was very early on. And, it was great. I thought that was the only softball that went on all year. So I would wait all year. I didn't know there was all these leagues and different tournaments and stuff like that. So I remember I played in that tournament, the NH Core tournament. I had so much fun. And like, man, I got to wait a whole nother year to play. So I did. I waited a whole nother year to play, not knowing there were all these leagues. And then I played the second one. And then one of my friends asked if I wanted to join her team and play in her softball league. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. So I was like, yeah, I'll sign up. And it was just like one, Sunday. It was just a Sunday league, my social sport. And man, I just fell in love with it. Like I said, I grew up playing baseball. I really robbed my adolescent years with drugs and alcohol, and put sports on the back burner. And sports were always huge to me growing up, dude. That's what I would do. Like, after school, I'd be out, until it was dark, just practicing and playing, and that's like what I lived for. So, missing out on all those years, it's like playing softball now. That's why I love it so much. I feel like I'm just trying to get back time and just like enjoy what I love doing that I missed out on.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like it. Honestly, it's a wild world for sure. But no, that's really. So, what year was that? The first time you played in that tournament?
Oh man, probably like that was probably like 4 years ago, maybe
Okay.
maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, that's a fun tournament. I played with you, and
Mhm.
I played with Granite
Yeah, the
Recovery,
year before.
Mike McCormick,
McCormick.
who
Yep.
is I've only met him that one time, but I got there, I was like, what is it? And as I went through the day, I go, I like that guy. I really like that guy,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
had a blast. We absolutely had a blast. So, New Hampshire Court, are they doing that in June this year, or is it back? I liked it in June better than August.
I
I
did
don't know
too.
whether,
Yeah, I don't know. I hope June. That would be great. Sooner the
yeah,
better, right?
yeah. August it was hot, and
Very hot.
yeah, yeah, but that's a good time, and I think that's really good. A lot of people, and I would love to get your opinion on this actually, because we go back and forth on some of these sober tournaments, right? And
Mhm.
people say, why is that person playing? They're not sober, or this and that. And I say, but isn't that a good thing to like influence people? Or
Yeah.
like they may hear something that I'll be honest, I may not even be sober without knowing so many people through. I never played like sober softball, but I started meeting more people that are in recovery because of softball. And I
Yeah.
would hear things like I had JR on my show when I was really struggling with alcoholism. And I remember him just talking and be like, I want to be like that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so where do you say? I don't think, I mean, maybe some of the other stuff, maybe like people in actual, but like a tournament like that, I think is just amazing to maybe impact one person
Yeah.
to maybe want to get sober if they're having a hard time. You know what I'm saying?
I agree because I had even heard someone say, and this person was kind of like just a normal person, someone that a successful person that can drink once in a while, doesn't completely control their life like an alcoholic, but seeing the fun that we had, the connection. This person had mentioned like wanting to just not even drink all around, seeing like how much fun and you know what I mean. It was like inspiring to this person, which I thought was great, and that's what we're supposed to do. You know what I mean? So I mean, I think a tournament like that, and it all depends, man. I think a lot of things are I don't think it's good to be closed-minded on certain things, and a lot of things are case by case. It's about connection, and we never really know where someone's at, and if that could help someone, if that can keep them sober in that moment, and maybe like get them to turn that corner, why shut the door? You know what I mean? I do think in a setting like that, you know what I mean, as long as things are respectful and things aren't being done at the, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
But I think there's different types of like, I know that there's like serious recovery tournaments. I've gone to them, like the ones in like Colorado, Florida, Texas, where like you got to be like literally like working a program or have like a specific amount of days, like I think at least like 30 days to do that. Those are things and rules that I think should be respected, and there's always an exempt person. But I think when we're building community out here and it's something that's really not that serious and it's about building connection and bringing people together, I think that should be the focus.
I 100% agree. I just heard a comment and I was like, you know what? Like this? I mean, I don't even know I don't know where I stand on sober softball in general. Like I really don't.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't, and that's not, I'm not not saying I don't want to participate, and I'm not saying I don't know who should participate, who doesn't, but I do believe closing the door on an addict or an alcoholic who may need something is also not where I want to be. So I'm so confused on the softball level where to ever go with that, to be honest, which is maybe why I don't have a lot of involvement in it. But I will say that one tournament, I think it's a really good place for people who, one, are sober, but are those people that are like, hey, I may have a drinking problem. I'm an addict or something like that, to be around those type of people for today. I was talking about with AA meetings to guys walking to the other field. Oh, you've been to the Friendship Center? Oh, and that's like, to me, what it's all about.
Yeah.
And where you may influence somebody, which I think is like the most amazing thing.
I agree.
So, but anyways, I'm rambling on that. But I do think that's a wonderful tournament, and that's why I just wanted to.
I love it. I look forward to it every year.
What has been your most enjoyable thing playing?
Playing softball?
Yeah.
Man, I'd say just the connections that come with it and meeting new, like, man, it's where I met you. It's where I've met so many, it's where I've met so many friends, some of my best friends, different, and I've met people all over the country traveling and playing and just, I'd say the connection that it brings, man. And what I love is, life can get lifey and sometimes it gets stressful and so much is going on. And what I love about it is when I step on the field, like I can kind of just like forget about that shit. Sorry for swearing. I can just kind of forget about it, for a little bit, man, and just play the game that I love. I love watching people get better. There's really nothing that I enjoy more than like watching people get better and excel and just like their first, like my fiance Jenna, watching her fall in love with it and playing more and like her first hits and making plays at the plate and things like that, and seeing the excitement that it brings is just nothing like it, man.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic thing, and I gotta say too, do you have a favorite memory so far? Now I feel like Drew Wade's gonna be playing for the next 25, 30 years, right? What's your favorite memory so far?
Probably, man, I'd say when we went out to one of my favorite tournaments that I'd go play with Rock Bottom is out in Colorado. And we went out there and I won MVP of the tournament. I think we came in second in the mid division, which is a very competitive division. And I was nominated MVP for that tournament. So that was very meaningful. That was great, especially playing with like, the people that we were playing with, some very good players that I just look up to. So to even be considered for that was just really cool. It was a good memory.
Yeah, no, and Rock Bottom, they've had a lot of different people over the years. Whatever happened to Matt? Oh gosh, I'm blanking on names right now. Matty Lee. I haven't seen him in years. Did you know him?
Yeah, I played with him in Sober Worlds the last time it was in Florida. He was on our team.
Yeah.
I used to work with Matt actually. Alongside him, I worked at the sister part of the company. Great guy, but yeah, we played in a tournament a few years ago. I think he moved down to Florida, working in treatment. So the last I knew, I haven't talked to him in a little bit, but the last time was at Sober Worlds.
Yeah, he's a former guest left Freedom Ring. He actually, believe it or not, the day I left for treatment, I reached out to Jesse. He was the first one, but I reached out to Matt directly and I said, I think I'm going today. He didn't even know I had a drinking problem. He was probably like, where is this coming from? And I said, what is treatment like? I said, you work in that. I need to know because I'm literally about to call Gatehouse like right now. And he kind of was like, oh, okay, that's great. And he gave me a little bit. I asked him a few questions. I don't know. For some reason, my brain just said, ask Matt.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen him in years. And I guess maybe he did move. He's not on Facebook, so I've just kind of lost track of him.
Yeah, last time I saw him was at Sober Worlds, though.
Oh, good. Well, I want to make sure we get into this. We have about 20 minutes. we're gonna keep this into one. You had a lot of fan questions. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll go over a little bit, but I want to make sure we get to the majority of these. In the picture that promoted the show, you were it was a picture from a rock bottom tournament.
Yeah.
Aaron Gervais, no relation to Ricky, I believe. What?
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he is. What bat are you swinging?
I'm swinging Aaron's.
Is that his? Yeah,
That's his bat. Yeah, that's my that's probably my favorite bat. Hopefully he watches this and wants to sell it to me because I'll buy it.
Is he now? Aaron's a big. I mean, a lot of people are big bat guys. Is he another one that likes to buy a lot of bats?
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Um,
Aaron.
yeah, that makes. It seems to be everybody. I buy like a bat here and there.
Yeah.
But these raffles have become huge.
Oh, I know.
Orlando Aponte, recent guest of Let Freering. Is it true he hit a walk-off home run to go to the championship game and won $2,000?
That's a true fact. Yeah, it was.
Now, is this a Krista Hayes? For a recent guest too, Krista Hayes, who's doing these phenomenal close call tournaments. I'm hearing.
They are. Yeah.
What was that experience like? Did you know it was for $2,000 or?
Yeah, so I did. I never, and I was so excited for that tournament too. I just thought it was so cool what they're doing for like the softball community to help bring that excitement to the tournament, to help a team. Like that's a big deal to go towards, a team when you think about the fees and the money that we pay to enter all these tournaments and travel and uniform and stuff like that. And like offering a prize like that is something you don't really see. So I was just so excited, and I never envisioned whatsoever like me winning that, like whatsoever, bro. Like I can't even like win a big book at an AA meeting. Like I just don't have that luck. You know what I mean? So no, that moment was cool though. And to be honest, I didn't even know that was to walk it off. I thought we were down by more. So there were two people on. I guess we were down by 3, and the home team, if you tie it in the bottom, you win.
Okay.
So there was 2 people on, and I thought we were down by a little more though, so I wasn't really like that nervous. I didn't know that like that was the moment. I'm glad because I didn't overthink it, and I just hit a perfect line drive home run, and everyone started walking off the field. I was like, "What are they doing?" And then I realized it was a walk-off.
It's probably better not to know that.
I was glad I didn't know. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I was going to say, what's going through your mind? You didn't know. That's perfect.
I was just having fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Mitch Pierce wants to know, how many batting gloves do you own?
Man, that's a crazy question. I don't know. I mean, more than I should, more than I need. That much I know. Maybe like 8 pairs.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys do it. I wear batting gloves in baseball. I've been playing slow pitch 21 years. I've never worn batting gloves. I can't imagine what that's like to even. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I would lose the bat, to be honest. Yeah. I had one scary moment where it started to rain one time, and we were playing, like I just graduated college. I swung and I lost the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost hit my buddy's pregnant girlfriend at the time.
Oh my God.
And it was like, but I don't know. I rubbed a little dirt. It was okay. But Casey Nolan wants to know, how does a gnome get so big and strong? Is he calling you a gnome?
Yeah, he's calling me a gnome.
Oh, Casey.
Right. Going to the gym. I've been going to the gym since I was 16,
Oh, did we lose? Wait, we may have lost Drew. Let's see if this reboots. Gonna go.
There we go.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, so yeah, I've just been working out at a young age, man. I literally started when I was 16. Just like that was like a good, way that I could get some energy out. You know what I mean? So I've just always kind of gone to the gym.
Now, did you feel when you got sober, you got like, Were you still working out then, or like when the sobriety was that like a big part was working out too, or?
Yeah, that's always been a factor. In my recovery, obviously, when I wasn't in recovery, that was nothing that I ever thought of. You know what I mean? But when I get sober and I get healthy, I just like to try to, take care of myself, and it's just something that I've always, it's been a love-hate relationship.
Sure.
Sometimes I take a little bit of time off, but it's something that I've always loved to do for myself. And even if I don't love doing it in the moment, I always feel better after I do it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I since I tore my rotator cuff, I used to be a gym rat, and I never got
Yeah.
back to it. And I'm
Is that
like, I'm
what
only
it
getting
was?
older. Yeah, I used to look a lot bigger,
Got it.
but
I figured with that nickname, you must have had some big arms or something.
yeah, for my size, it was a name I hated. It was a
Really?
name I hate because I worked out. Well, it was this Rico who ended up being my coach, but this before we played together. I kept flexing at the pitcher who I knew his wife from work, and I had never met him. I was just teasing him. And he goes, "Tiny Pipes." And I went,
That's
"Huh?" And then everyone started calling me, and I would get mad. Like, I'd be
yeah.
like, I was like, "Don't call me that." And then one day I said, "You better embrace this because it's not going anywhere." And then I made
Yeah.
it a whole, the co-ed hero was born, Tiny Pipes, and
Yeah.
promo videos were dropped on a regular basis. So, um, but yeah. So got to get back to that.
Yeah.
Justin DeFury wants to know, big Sopranos guy, second biggest fan that there is. How many vacations do you go on a year?
That's a good question. We go on one big vacation every year. We'll plan a trip. Like this year we just got back from Bonaire, so we'll plan something special like that. We'll take a few trips, somewhere in between. I think we went to Florida a couple times as well. So yeah, maybe like 2 or 3. This year we got quite a few. We just got back from Bonaire. We're getting married in September, Jen and I, and we're gonna go on a nice honeymoon in Hawaii.
Oh,
Planning on skipping Christmas this year and going to Turks and Caicos. So really, that's something that we just really enjoy doing together. We both work really hard. I like to travel. She loves to travel. That's like our favorite thing to do together. I spent, way too many years just wasting my life away, getting high in a bathroom. So I just want to see the world. I want to enjoy it. I just want to see, everything I can.
nice. Now, was she a big traveler before?
We kind of started together. Like we fell in love with travel. Like early on, like we did this like big trip in California, where we went and just saw so much. We went to like San Jose. We went to Santa Cruz. We went to San Francisco. Then we went and stayed in Yosemite, and just hiked Yosemite and explored there for like 4 days. And it was just this like really beautiful, amazing trip. And we both just kind of fell in love with everything that we saw. And just like literally after that, we were just like, that's what we did together. That's what we do. It's our favorite thing.
Nice. Zach Patno wants to know, is it okay if I call you Drew? And he said, yes, it is. Do you still go big or go home?
Yes, always go big or go home.
Is he a softball guy?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amy Ban just said Yoder, which I believe is your Amish nickname, as I believe that's what that's from.
Yes.
As people in the softball community know, the Amish are very good at softball, which is
very good.
Something shocking we all learned over the years.
Yeah, most of my algorithm on like when I scroll like my Facebook reels are literally Amish highlights, and we'll always like send them to each other, and that's just a thing we say is just like when we're up to bat, just like Yoder, like hoping we're gonna hit like Yoder, you know what I mean?
It's fascinating that's I think it's funny that they just start playing softball. I think they skip baseball and they just go right to slow pitch, which is amazing. Julia Lopez wants to know, is there something in sobriety you had to unlearn in order to grow?
Yeah, I would say there was a ton of things that I had to unlearn. I think I was always so hard on myself. You know what I mean? And I was just very, very like cruel to myself. I had no like sort of self-compassion. And so like I had to like unlearn all those like cognitive, like negative, like thinking patterns, like about myself and just like negative way of thinking in order to like grow as a person and learn to love myself.
No, there's a lot to unlearn. I learned you got to you can listen to other people and not be
Yeah,
stubborn
that's
about everything.
yeah,
You know, like,
yeah.
no, but good answer. Cam Colby really wants this question to be answered. He
I
even
know.
commented on another post. How are your shoulders taller than you?
Man, he really wants this question answered, and I don't even know. I don't have an answer to it. I have no idea. I think it goes beyond physics. I just have no idea, Cam.
Has he made this comment to you before, or is this the first time you're hearing that?
So it's the first time I've heard it directed like that, but he has made plenty of comments about my shoulder size for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cam, really checking you out. And
Really checking out the shoulders.
Yeah. Mandy Smith wants to know. Oh, she says Drew is a great guy, so she's a fan.
Mandy's awesome. Mandy's awesome.
She's a very nice person. I've met her a few times actually. Gary Russo. I don't know what he's talking about here. Is Polk High? What is Polk High?
Dude, I've never been there. I don't know. I
didn't
throw
know.
4 tutties either.
Okay, I saw the thing and I said I Googled Polk High and I go, I don't know the reference.
Is that a reference? I think it's Al Bundy. Like
yeah, that's maybe what it was.
He's like threw 4 touchdowns in one game, Peg, or something like that.
Okay, because I'm like sitting there going like, I don't think Drew went to a high school named that, and
Polk High alumni.
I think Gary just getting random there.
Yep.
Mel Amato, my good friend Melissa Amato. How has softball impacted your life in your sobriety?
It's definitely I would say like the relationships and the connections. I've just met like so many friends and relationships that I hold like very close. Some of my best friends I met playing the sport. And what was the second part of the question?
How has it impacted your sobriety?
Again, I would say recovery softball has gotten big. It's definitely, I'd say mostly just being able to like travel around and meet people in recovery. Travel competitively, like when we would go to like Colorado and even sober worlds and just meet so many great like-minded people that just love this game,
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I gotta say, for me, I remember being in treatment and being like, I'm not gonna be able to play softball anymore. Like, because it was so tight. Like there was a lot of drinking involved with softball, which I feel has died down quite, or maybe it's just because I've changed. I just like noticed not everybody's drinking like I thought.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like, I have a newfound love for it that I had kind of lost.
Yeah.
It wasn't as fun as it had been,
Yeah.
So my buddy Kendall Payne Glover, KPG, member of the Four Families, has 3 questions for you. What's something you learned recently that changed how you see the world?
That's a good question.
It's a tough one.
Something that I learned recently that what?
Changed how you see the world.
I don't really have an answer for that, to be honest. It's a tough one to answer on the spot, and I can't think of anything too recent that happened that changed my view on the world. I try to just I just try to be positive. I just try to live my life. I try to stay away from all the the fear and all that stuff, and I really just try to live my life in a positive way. That's all I really try to do.
Yeah, no, it's a tough question. I mean,
yeah, it's a good question. I wish I had an answer.
I'll say one thing about being in recovery, though. I do feel like you start to see life for what it is, and not like a lot of things that I used to make a big deal about. I don't anymore. I just try to I'm glad that I'm here, and I'm not going to be here forever. So, What is something you wish you knew sooner?
I would say, I mean, I think that's a great question too. I'm a firm believer in everything happens when it was supposed to. And the length of this journey to find recovery for me was essential, right? I started off young, but I didn't get it till about 16 years later. But man, I just wish I wish I wasn't so hard headed early on. I wish I listened. I wish I took things a little more serious, because everything that they told me when I was like younger, like going into this, was absolutely true. Everything they said that was going to happen, 100% did. You know what I mean? But I tested the waters. But so as much as I do wish that, a second part of that is I'm very grateful for the struggle and the journey, because it all led to this.
Oh, that's a good answer. And what would you want people to remember when it's all said and done?
Man, I don't know, man. Just that I feel like I'm a pretty good guy. Just that I'm a good guy, man. Like I care about people, very, humble, laid back. I care about people. I want people to succeed. I want them to do well. I don't wish harm on people. You know what I mean? I just want everyone to do well. I try to just be as good of a human as I can nowadays.
No, that's good. Or leave the world better than when you first came into it.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Meryl Bongiovanni, she's a former guest. Did you get hurt in the tournament picture that we posted?
Yeah, big time. So it actually happened pretty early on. I think it was our second game. And we had just enough players to play. So we had 10. And I went for one of my sliding catches. And the grass out there in Colorado in the field it's so thick. And my cleat got just planted in the grass, my left foot, and I just did a complete split. And I had some speed. I'm quick, so it was like I had a lot of speed going in for the slide, and I just tore the muscle like on my inner thigh, and it just swelled up like a balloon. And the bruising went all the way from my upper thigh all the way down to my ankle, just purple. And that was like game 2. We made it all the way to the championship, and I just continued playing left field and played through it, and then played co-ed after that.
How was the plane ride home?
That was the absolute worst, dude. When I had no adrenaline, and that was the absolute worst. Yeah, coming home was hard.
Yeah, that's it's always after. It hurts more, I think, later.
Yeah, I had all the adrenaline to keep me, kind of when we'd stop playing, or when we were done for the day, it was rough. But once I got going, but that was one of the more kind of serious injuries that I played through.
Sarah Boothie wants to know, last week's guest, what is your favorite thing about softball, and what are your top 3 highlights?
So I'd say my favorite thing is just, I've said it before, but just like the connection, just like being on the field with my friends, watching my fiance play and love the sport, the competitive side, the fun side, just, I love everything about it. Top 3 highlights, I would say, winning MVP in Colorado. I would say that that walk-off home run that Orlando had mentioned, that was just amazing. And then also winning that $2,000 prize for my U-Trip team for Morningwood. That was one of the coolest things.
Nice. Danielle Keogh, not KO. No, Keogh. I never know.
Danielle K.
We'll say Danielle K. If softball or baseball was out of the picture, what sport or hobby would you have?
I would just travel more.
Anywhere you really want to?
Huh?
Anywhere you really want to go that you haven't been yet?
Yeah, I really want to go to Egypt. I really want to go to Egypt. Yeah.
I think Big Ed
went there pretty recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty incredible to just go there and see everything and just kind of venture out that way.
Yeah, that's a once in a lifetime type trip.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Well, this is hysterical. Oh boy, the question I could ask you, love your mom. And then she said, take mom on vacay, Lisa Webb. Are you going to take her with you on any of these trips?
Yeah, I'd love to now that she's retired, we can. It was my mom, she actually just retired from the post office after like 30 something years. She also retired with probably like 6 months of sick time, if that tells you anything about her. You couldn't,
No,
get the woman to
no
take a
days
day
off.
off. So, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I can't travel with you if you're not willing to take time off. But now that she's retired, I think a trip is definitely in the future, and I'd love to experience something like that with her. I think it would be great after everything that we've just been through. To just take some time away and just enjoy life would be great.
Nice. Gotta take mom on a trip.
You
for
have
sure.
to, yeah.
Wayne LaCourte, some people call him Wayne LaShort, as he's he plays shortstop.
Yeah.
Wayne wants to know, how does it feel to be recognized as a Morningwood legend without even officially playing a game for us yet?
Man, it feels amazing. It feels amazing. He's talking about that bringing home that prize to Morningwood. So that's what I was saying. I mean, that was one of the top three things that I could think of, is just being able to bring that to the team. So it's a really cool feeling.
That is a huge amount of money to bring in. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
you'll have a blast with those guys.
I can't wait.
Nicole McGrady wants to know, and what was it like growing up with a twin? Did you try and fool your teacher? So you have a twin?
Yeah, Will. You know Will Swanson.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
The Adventures of Bill and Will. So
got it.
Yeah, Nicole thinks that we look a lot alike, but it's funny because I'm realizing a lot of people think that Will and I look a lot alike. I actually, real quick, I was at a restaurant and I happened to like look over and we saw Will's daughter was there, and she happened to be there with Will's sister, and Will's sister had looked over and thought her brother was in the restaurant, but it was me. So I'm starting to realize that a lot of people think that Will and I look a lot alike. So that's why we say the Adventures of Dill and Will.
See, I didn't know if you actually had twin, because I've had 2 times in my life that I've run into someone's twin thinking it was them, because I
Really?
didn't know that they had 2 coworkers that I didn't know had a twin. And I was one time at Strange Brew and I just seen my buddy at the gym, and I'm like, why is he not saying hi to me? And I was like, is that him? Like, so I messaged him the next day and I said, I thought I saw you last night. He goes, no, it's my twin brother. He was on a
Oh,
date
no
because they
way.
live together. Then I was at a wrestling event, and this other guy I knew from work. I mean, his brother looked identical. You couldn't tell them apart.
Yeah.
So I walk up. I was like, yeah, you liking the show, man? How are you? Blah, blah, blah. And the guy looked at me confused. And I was like, man, that was a weird interaction. Then I'm walking down the hall at work. He goes, hey, you ran into my brother. I go, what? I was like, he didn't tell me. It was probably one of those times where I was at wrestling. I was probably really excited. And yeah. So I thought maybe you really had a twin, and I was a little caught off guard by that. But
no, people have always asked though. Like, Will's been one of my really good friends, one of my best friends, and people have always asked if we're brothers, and because we play on the same team a lot, and they'll always ask, "Is that your brother over there?" And in a way, but not like that.
That's funny. And last question for Big Ed. He wants to know, can I borrow some of those muscles?
Sure. Absolutely.
But yeah, I think we got to all. There was one question we left out. I didn't want to stir the pot too much on that one. But someone asked, "Are you taking Jenna's last name? Is that I don't know. What,
Mike? No.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No. He's always That's one of our friends, Mike. He's always joked that I'm going to end up taking Jenna's last name when we get married. Our last names are so similar anyways. Well, Wade and Wald.
Oh, okay.
So he'll call me Drew Wald.
Got it. Okay. That makes sense. I saw the question. I was like, I'm not sure where that's going. I'm just going to refrain from it, but no,
I was laughing with Jenna earlier when I told her that you sent me the voice memo saying that you weren't sure about that question. You're going to leave it out. We were dying laughing.
We try to always, we scan the questions before we ask them. But Drew, this has been an absolute blast. I really appreciate you coming on. Any final words or anything that you want to say?
I mean, Yeah, man, I just appreciate everything you do. I think that this is really cool. I've watched the episodes and just getting to know other people. So I appreciate you even asking me to come on and putting this on, man. It means a lot. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. We'll have to have you back sometime. But this has been a really good time. Everybody have a wonderful week. And we'll be back next week. But until then, continue to let freedom ring.
Thank you, Dan.